If we built, 300 million houses tomorrow in America, that's about how many people there are in America, then you could still see rents go up. You could still see housing costs go up. You could still see the homeless rate go up. That's what price fixing will bring you. That's what unsound currency with no checks and balances, no accountability can bring you. The same for food. We could double the amount of food that we're producing in this country, and our cost for food could still go up. You see, it's anti-supply and demand. It's the opposite of supply and demand. The opposite. It's harder for them to get away with this when it comes to luxury goods because of, the fact that these are luxury goods. They're not necessities. You don't need them to actually survive like you do with shelter, housing, or food, or water, or air, or energy. Nowadays, energy plays more and more into the human needs category. We've become very dependent on it for our food growth and our water delivery and whatnot. But you understand how this whole system works. So I hope I've explained this good enough for people. But I'll revisit it if I need to, if I sense that people really aren't getting it. But I hope if one person gets it and they can convey these truths to somebody else, and maybe they can do it more cogently, more coherently than I can, or maybe just in a way that somebody else can understand it when I don't seem to be getting through to people. But it's all very simple. People want to look at the effect of what these people have imposed on humanity, instead of going and blaming the cause. Blame the market manipulators. If employers don't like having to give their employees raises, they say, hey, that's going to cause me to have to raise my price of what I'm selling. Well, then blame squarely the people that deserve the blame. Blame the market manipulators. Blame the price fixers. Okay? Say, well, wait a minute. It's true. What this guy is telling you is true. There's no shortage of food. We don't have a famine in the land. There's no shortage of housing. It's not that the slaves are, they're incompetent or lazy or not willing to serve. No, we've got more surplus housing in America today than ever before in history, with the highest homeless rate and going up. You see, what they've got, this is their way of extracting their perverted form of reverence from us. Do you think that if homeless rates went into decline and we saw, light at the end of the tunnel, do you think that's good news for landlords or people, the real estate agents, or the lending institutions? Do you think that's what they want to see? Because it's going to drive prices down. If people aren't living under fear, abject fear of homelessness, do you know how many people out there who would do anything? They would literally vow to serve the devil, serve Satan, sell their soul so that they never had to be abjectly poor. They would do whatever it took. They're all in to serve the beast. These are the people that have the mark of the beast, because whether this is literal or metaphorical, this mark of the beast, it doesn't matter. God sees inside your heart and your soul. You can hide from everybody, including yourself. You can lie to and deceive yourself. Anybody is subject to being deceived. Very intelligent, very learned people can be deceived, because being deceived simply means you're believing a lie. That's it. It's as simple as that. So understand that you better be clear in your heart, in your mind, in your conscience. Know yourself. To thine own self be true. Be somebody. Have some substance. Value the right components of your being, your essence, your character. Those invisible qualities that are very real. The most powerful elements in the world known to science are invisible, like the air we breathe, and magnetism and gravity and electricity, which the air is full of electricity. We have electricity coursing through our bodies, sending synapses through our brain constantly, helping us to think. I don't want to beat a dead horse here about this supply and demand principles, because it really is so fundamental. Look it up. Go online and read the dictionary definition. Read the dictionary definition for egalitarianism. Read the dictionary definition for sound currency versus unsound currency. And you'll understand the same things that I understand. And these are really simple truths. It doesn't take intelligence, big brain, high IQ, none of that stuff. This stuff is very fundamental to understand. The value of understanding these basic truths cannot be overestimated. You've got to understand that we're all affected by each other's vibrations. And if other people just think of themselves as brute beasts, born to just, go to a job and serve, and then, go home, watch TV, eat, go to sleep, wake up, go to work, serve, then they're small-minded, brute beasts. And it affects me because, this is not about ego. I'm not encouraging people to have a big ego. You want a small ego. And humility is what you want, and it's the opposite of ego. But what you want is a high self-esteem. You have to understand your worth is not based on what the system says, because it's evil. It's fundamentally evil. Up one side and down the other. The only opinion you really care about is God's opinion. And what does He think of? What is your value to God? It is written that you are worth more than many sparrows, that God has numbered the hairs of your head, that what God wants from you is a friend. And when you're a friend, you'll go out and try to win other friends for Him and bring them into the fold. Bring them out of Babylon, out of confusion. And, so that you can share in His bounty, okay? Because everything good comes from above. And we want to be happy. We want to have high self-esteem because our parents, our divine parents, God Almighty, wants us to think highly of ourselves. And when you do, you won't think of yourself as a brute beast that was born to just go out and serve the system. You'll understand that you were born a priceless treasure, one of a kind, irreplaceable. And you were born through an egalitarian miracle, God. Okay, and this planet belongs to you as much as anybody. That's the true reality. That's not what we have. I understand that. So it sounds like a pipe dream. It sounds idealistic. It sounds utopian. But if you go to the one true source, you'll see that He has given us the potential, the capacity to live together in peace and harmony as equals, okay, to go out and serve one another of our own free will. We don't need to be coerced. We don't need to be beaten to do it. We don't need to have this fear imposed on us, okay? That's how they operate. They want us afraid. They want us intimidated. They say, if you don't do this thing, if you don't conform, we can take all your stuff, we could take away your freedom and confine you in a prison, and we could take your life, okay? So, you know what? Don't do it. Just, follow the system, follow the beast, go along to get along, and, we're the practical ones, we're the ones with common sense, listen to us. So it's this constant vying for our affections, our attention, for our loyalties. And you've got to see, these are two competing gods. And only one God can survive this thing. And it's going to be the one true God. And that light is descending right before our very eyes as I speak. The light of truth grows more and more and more. Knowledge continues to grow on the earth. And it's growing exponentially with the internet and everything. Information's around the world in a matter of seconds. So understand basically that if something bad happens to you, something unnecessarily bad, not an accident or disease, a natural disaster, I'm talking about the artificial bad things. Like, let's say poverty overtakes you, all your wealth is lost tomorrow. Then that hurts me. That's bad for me. Because if you're sucking lemons, on a grand scale, because you might end up suicidally and you might end up taking your own life. That's hurting me. As your brother, that's hurting me. So whatever hurts you, okay, that's evil, hurts me. And we've all got to stop letting ourselves be hurt by this wicked system. We've all got to support each other. Say, even though this problem doesn't affect me directly, if it affects one of my brothers or sisters, I better give a damn, because there's only 2 commandments that supersede all of the other commandments in the Bible. Love God above all else as a rightful source of every good thing, with our whole hearts, minds, spirits, souls, and bodies, our whole being. But love one another as ourselves. If we can do those things, we'll please God. And then we will find true happiness. We will deserve to inherit a better world, a better society, that one that you can envision, that one that you can imagine, that one, like Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. A world where all humanity is living in freedom and prosperity and security and safety, just enjoying their little lives on God's green earth, because that's the only intention God has for us. He wants us to be happy. The happier we are, the happier He is. It all is logical. It makes sense. These are immutable laws of the universe. So I want things to be good for not just you, I want things to be good for me and my kids and for everybody, for strangers I've never met or maybe never meet. But you know what? We're all in this thing together. We're all in the same boat. And you know what? I just want things to get better. I really do. I'm sick and tired of seeing things getting worse, and they are. I don't care who's out there saying, well, it's just going to get worse if this and that happens. Hey, you know what? It's already been broken. It's just taking time for the inertia to catch up, okay? But things aren't getting better. The system lets people fall through the cracks. These politicians go along with all the other private interests out there, like all the landlord interests. And the landlords are in there being subsidized by these politicians. They're taking the money for you and I, and then they let just enough people fall through the cracks to make sure there's sufficient fear so that you make sure you pay those exorbitant rents. You pay that exorbitant mortgage. You pay this fraud. That's what they've done. They just imposed fraud on us. This whole debt is illegitimate. The national debt, all the personal debt, it's all evil. It's all from the pit of hell. It's all invented misery